Summer is here, and everything you need for adventure is waiting at shockshop.us. Gear up with camping essentials, stylish bathing suits for fun in the sun, reliable generators for every outdoor trip, kayaks, dinghies, and water toys for non-stop excitement. From backyard fun to lakeside escapes, shackshop.us has it all. Shop the summer sale now and save big at shackshop.us.
Belfast knife attack sparks fierce immigration debate as political leaders trade blame. A violent knife attack in Belfast has rapidly evolved from a criminal investigation into one of the most politically charged issues facing Northern Ireland in recent years. What began as a shocking assault that left a local man with life-altering injuries has now become the centre of a heated discussion about immigration policy, border management, asylum procedures, and cooperation between the governments in London and Dublin. The incident has generated headlines across the United Kingdom, Ireland, and beyond. Political leaders, community groups, law enforcement officials, and ordinary citizens have all weighed in on the events that unfolded, while demonstrations and unrest have further intensified public attention. At the centre of the controversy is the question of how the accused suspect arrived in Northern Ireland and whether existing immigration systems are adequately protecting the public while maintaining legal obligations toward asylum seekers and migrants. The attack that shocked Belfast. The attack occurred in North Belfast, leaving 44-year-old Stephen Ogilvie seriously injured. Emergency responders rushed to the scene following reports of a violent confrontation involving a knife. The severity of the injuries immediately drew concern from authorities and residents alike. Medical personnel worked to stabilise Ogilvie before transporting him to hospital, where he remains under intensive treatment. Reports indicate that the injuries were extensive and life-changing, prompting widespread sympathy and concern throughout Northern Ireland. As details of the attack emerged, police launched a major investigation to determine exactly what had occurred and identify the person responsible. A suspect appears in court. Authorities later arrested and charged 30-year-old Sudanese national Hadi Alodid with attempted murder. The case quickly moved into the court system, where prosecutors outlined the allegations against him. During an appearance before Belfast Magistrates' Court, Alodid was remanded into custody pending future proceedings. The court hearing marked the beginning of what is expected to be a closely watched legal process. As with all criminal proceedings, the allegations remain subject to judicial examination, and the accused is entitled to due process under the law. Questions surrounding the suspect's immigration history soon became a central focus of public discussion. How the immigration issue emerged. Public attention intensified after information surfaced regarding Alodid's arrival in Ireland and subsequent travel to Northern Ireland. According to information discussed publicly by officials, the suspect reportedly entered the island of Ireland through Dublin before later travelling north into Northern Ireland. It is understood that he subsequently sought asylum within the United Kingdom. Those details immediately triggered debate over border management arrangements between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Unlike many international borders, movement across much of the Irish border occurs without routine checkpoints. The arrangement has long been considered a crucial element of peace and economic cooperation on the island. However, critics argue that such an open system presents challenges when monitoring migration movements. DUP MP points to government failures. One of the strongest political reactions came from Democratic Unionist Party MP Gregory Campbell. Campbell argued that responsibility extends beyond a single government and suggested that both Dublin and London must examine their respective roles in immigration oversight. According to Campbell, the case highlights weaknesses in how authorities track and assess individuals arriving from abroad before they move between jurisdictions on the island. The East Derry MP expressed concerns that existing procedures may not provide sufficient scrutiny in certain circumstances. He called for improved cooperation between British and Irish authorities, particularly when dealing with arrivals from regions experiencing conflict, instability, or migration pressures. His remarks quickly became a major talking point across political circles and media outlets. A long-standing debate returns. The controversy has revived a debate that has existed for years regarding the relationship between immigration policy and border management on the island of Ireland. Supporters of stricter controls argue that governments have a responsibility to know who is entering their territories and to ensure that proper security screening takes place. Others maintain that the overwhelming majority of migrants obey the law, contribute positively to society, and should not be judged based on the actions of a single individual. This tension between public safety concerns and humanitarian obligations remains one of the most challenging issues facing policymakers throughout Europe. Public reaction and growing anger. News of the attack spread rapidly through Belfast communities, generating strong emotional reactions. Many residents expressed sympathy for the victim and his family while demanding answers about how such an incident could occur. The emotional atmosphere intensified as details of the suspect's immigration pathway entered public discussion. Social media platforms became flooded with opinions, accusations, and demands for policy changes. Political leaders from multiple parties urged calm, while emphasizing the need to allow investigators and courts to perform their duties. Despite those appeals, tensions continued to rise. Protests turned to disorder. What began as public demonstrations eventually escalated into unrest in several areas. Large crowds gathered to express frustration and anger following reports about the attack. In some locations, disturbances developed, resulting in property damage, fires, and confrontations that required police intervention. Authorities deployed significant resources in an effort to restore order and protect residents. The unrest quickly became a major story in its own right, drawing international media coverage and prompting renewed concerns about community relations. Community leaders call for calm. Amid rising tensions, community representatives, religious figures, and political leaders urged residents not to allow the situation to spiral further. Many stressed that criminal responsibility belongs to individuals rather than entire communities. They warned against collective blame and emphasized the importance of preserving public safety while respecting legal processes. Numerous organizations encouraged peaceful dialogue instead of confrontation. The victim's family speaks out. Perhaps the most powerful statement came from Stephen Ogilvy's family. While expressing heartbreak over the attack and concern for his recovery, relatives also issued a direct appeal regarding the unrest. The family condemned violence carried out in response to the incident and stated that they supported only peaceful forms of protest. Their message emphasized that migrants contribute significantly to many sectors of society, including healthcare, hospitality, and essential services. They urged people not to exploit the tragedy to spread hatred or division. The statement resonated widely because it came from those most directly affected by the attack. Broader questions for the future. As the criminal case proceeds through the courts, broader policy questions remain unresolved. Should immigration screening procedures be strengthened? How should London and Dublin coordinate more effectively? Can border openness and public safety be balanced successfully? What lessons can policymakers learn from this incident? These questions are likely to remain at the forefront of political discussion for months to come. For now, attention remains focused on two parallel developments: the recovery of Stephen Ogilvy and the legal proceedings against the man accused of carrying out the attack. Meanwhile, leaders on all sides continue debating whether the tragedy reveals deeper systemic problems or represents an isolated but deeply disturbing criminal act. Whatever conclusions eventually emerge, the Belfast knife attack has already become a defining moment in the ongoing conversation about immigration, security, public trust, and political accountability across the United Kingdom and Ireland.